This week's crossover Thursday episode of Locked On Falcons and Locked On Commanders is brought to you by PrizePicks. Download the app, use the code LOCKEDONNFL, all lowercase, to win $50 instantly when you play $5. We're going to get into the three things that each side of this competition must do in order to win. And Aaron Freeman, we're going to kick it off with you. The Atlanta Falcons visiting the Washington Commanders Sunday Night Football, Week 17. What are the three things that you think the Atlanta Falcons have to do in order to get the upset win over the Washington Commanders?
So the main three things: number one, contain the quarterback with pressure; number two, win the turnover battle; and number three, spread the football around on offense. I think, going back to number one, as we've discussed a lot, like, you got to get Jaden Daniels on the ground. Again, he's going to pop some runs. He's going to do some things that we have seen him do throughout his rookie season, but you can't let that sort of take over the game in the ways that previous running quarterbacks or mobile quarterbacks have been able to do against this Falcons defense. And that starts with that front four being able to get reliable pressure on him to get him on the ground, not only as a passer, but also as a runner, and containing him in that way. I think with the turnovers, I think that's been, at least in my eyes, a big part of Washington's kind of recent struggles, where for the first, 7-8 games of the season, they rarely turn the ball over. And these last couple of weeks, you've seen them, turn the ball over a ton, especially last week. And so if the Falcons can be opportunistic, and guys like Jesse Bates can get those interceptions on the back end, and they can force fumbles like Philadelphia was able to do, and play a clean game, which is something that Michael Penix out again. He had an interception before the halftime, but that was basically a drop pass by Kyle Pitts. Not his fault. And that's been a big issue. That's a big reason why Kirk Cousins is no longer starting, because the Falcons could not protect the football. So we need to see a clean game from Michael Penix. We need to see a clean game from this Falcons offense as far as turnovers go, and hopefully a very dirty game for the Washington Commanders when it comes to turnovers. And then the last thing is spread the ball around. Kyle Pitts has been basically a much maligned player among Falcon fans, but there's no doubt that this Falcons offense is better when he's involved, along with Drake London and Darnell Mooney and Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier, and it becomes a pick your poison with all these different weapons that the Falcons have. If they can get back to playing that style of football with Michael Penix, like they were playing earlier in the season when this offense was really humming under Kirk Cousins during the illustrious month of Kirktober, that is something that this team can, really use to, and that's, I think, going to be a big part of if they are able to put up enough points against this Commanders team to win this game, because I don't think the offense is going to be able to score 20 points like they did last week. They got 2 defensive touchdowns off of pick sixes last week. But I do think the offense is going to probably need to score 28 plus or whatever in order to win this game, given how hot this Commanders offense is. And I think they can do that if they can spread the ball around.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head on a lot of those things. Speaking of that turnover margin, though, man, 5 offensive giveaways. I personally have obviously never seen a team win a game doing that. And Dan Quinn said he's never seen a team do that. And shout out to Chick Hernandez of WSA 9 here out in the DC area. He did some digging and found out that it was the first time in 86 occurrences that a team turned the ball over 5 times, allowed 30 points to their opponent, and won. It's amazing that just kind of shows you how rare it is. Obviously, the Commanders are happy they got that win. They don't want to get another win that way. They're +2 overall in the season now after that terrible turnover game in the overall turnover margin. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there, because Dan Quinn, I guarantee you, Joe Witt Jr., Cliff Kingsbury, when they talk on Thursday, the 2 coordinators for the Commanders are going to harp on turnovers, not turning the ball over, getting more takeaways. Obviously, Washington Commanders fans would love to see Mikey Sainristil repeat his 1 interception for an 81-yard return against Michael Penix Jr. that he had the last time these 2 guys saw each other. It's all love, of course, though. For the Commanders, the 3 things they've got to do, Aaron: establish that ground game without having to rely on Jaden Daniels to do it. We talked about that earlier in the episode. The reason that's the main storyline for the offense is because that is the first thing I think this team absolutely is going to want to do. Number 2, stifle Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, that 2-headed rushing attack. This run defense has not been great over the course of the season. The Atlanta Falcons are one of the best in being able to do that. Because I have Bijan Robinson on my fantasy team, obviously I'm not a fan of Tyler Algier, but outside of that, big fan of both of these guys for a good reason. And take advantage of Michael Penix's pocket tendency. Take advantage of the fact that they can kind of get after him a little bit more aggressively than they can some other quarterbacks and score early. The best way to take the ball out of Bijan's hands, out of Tyler's hands, score early, force the Atlanta Falcons to lean on Michael Penix Jr. No shade to Michael Penix Jr. Anytime you have a rookie quarterback in their second start, I guarantee you, New York Giants, week 2, they said, let's force Jaden Daniels to beat us. Now, Jaden Daniels in a rookie franchise record 7 field goals did beat them. The Commanders are going to take the same approach here. Make Michael Penix Jr. beat you, and they're going to hope that they don't give up the points to allow him to do so. So I think those are the 3 things that the Washington Commanders have to do. I'm going to break all of those 3 things down as I do every Friday, every week ahead of games. Later on this week on Locked On Commanders, Aaron Freeman has got more great things going on for you over at Locked On Falcons. So Commanders fans, make sure you're coming through. Falcons fans, make sure you're coming through on that side. And Commanders fans specifically, you want to be smart about this matchup, make sure you go see Aaron Freeman. Definitely one of the best in the network. Always great doing crossover Thursday episodes with Aaron. Back in my days in NFC South, we got to do it twice a year, man. Now I'm glad that we at least still get to do it. This is twice in the last 3 years we've got to do it, with Washington and Atlanta taking on each other twice in the last 4 years. I don't know, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is.